So after you have copied your application server name, just the way I copied it, and open your application. Now, in the real business world, every company has their server application, but they will also put it their server application. It might be an IP address, it might be some website and all of that, but it all depends. So now, once you open this application server, then you are going to see, sorry about that. You are going to see at the top right here, I'm going to indicate so that we can see it clearly. So at the top right here, you will see an icon, this icon right here. When you mouse over that icon, it's going to tell you new connection. So we'll click on that icon. So this is the icon that you are setting up a new connection. So once you click on it, then it's going to open. It's going to open this. All you just need to do is click next. Once you click next, you're going to see this right here. So the first thing you want to do is for the name that you want to call the server. Now we have we are going to talk about it in the later part of this class, which we'll talk about landscape. When we talk about project, then we'll talk about this landscape. In the IT world, we have what we call development landscapes. We have what we call testing landscape or quality assurance landscape, and then we have what we call production landscape. So individual of this landscape, when the company is given to you, they have different server credentials. Development has a different credentials. Q&A is going to have a different credential, and production is going to have a different credentials. So we are going to assume for this class, we're just going to assume, so you can call your environment any name, but we're just going to assume, we're just going to call this dev landscape. Oh no, let me just put it 2020 SAP BA class. So I'm going to put it there. So that's the description, that's the name you will call it. But in the real world, if this was a development landscape, I'll call it development. If this was a QA landscape, I'll call it QA. And if this was a production landscape, I'll call it production. All right. Then the server name that you have copied, which is this server name, you copy it, then you have to put it here where it says server application. So put the server name and the server application. So once you paste the server name there and the server application, then you have your instance number and system ID. So you have the system number here and system ID. So here they say system ID and system number. So the system number is 00. So you put it there 00, which is the instance. It's an instance number. So you put 00 on the instance number. Then on the system ID, then you put the what? The EHP right there. EHP7. So once you put it, and that's it. Once you put this information, no routing SAP string is needed. So this is the information for your server that is going to enable us to work in the SAP environment. Then once you put it, then you click on what? Finish. Click on the finish button. Once you click on the finish button, you will see under the names of your connection, right here. So we have connections. Under your connections, you have all the servers. So in some SAP environment, please understand this. In some company, when you get to some company, they will install this SAP for you. You are not going to be the one to do the installation. They have the IT department that will do the SAP installation for you. And most time, the SAP department, they will put all of these credentials for you, the different environment that they have. Now, some companies have 20 connections. Some companies have 50 connections, and they will put everything there for you. So you just need to know the one or the environment or the landscape that you are going to be working in. So for this, for the purpose of this, you can see my 2020 SAP BA connection is at the top. Now, that step is done. So we've set up our server connection on our SAP application. So that's step one. Step one is done. So now that we have set it up, please, everybody has their credentials. I'm just showing this credential as an example. I have sent individual credentials to individual students. So you are going to use your credentials to log in. Now, once you have set up your connection, click on the connection. So you click on the connection, then you will see this button right here that says log on. So you see the connection, you have to click on the connection before you click on the log on button. So now I click on my connection, is highlighted, and I click on the log on. Once I click on the log on page opens. So this is no different in the SAP environment. Everything, this application behaves exactly like the real world. If you get a job today, this is how it's gonna be. No difference. The only difference you will see is if you are gonna be working in SAP HANA environment, but we take that away for now. So now your logon, once your logon open, this is where you are gonna put your username and password. At the top here, first you will see what we call client, and the client is 800. In an interview sometimes, if they want to see if you really have worked in SAP environment, they may ask you what client numbers was your company using or the company you've worked for. When companies buy SAP, SAP gives them an assigned client number. For training purposes, our client number is 800. Our client number is 800. Now, any number from 800 and above in the SAP world is considered a training system. So if you're on an interview and they ask you your client numbers in SAP, don't ever mention 800 or any number above 800 because they will know that's a training system. So you always tell them, oh, your client was using a client 100, 150, 200, 300, 400. Just stay within that ballpark. Okay. So I think someone is asking a question. So let me check the question. Is this part of signing in with your SAP server credentials being recorded? Yes, I'm recording it, so you can always go back and watch it. But I'm expecting you to follow through what I'm doing right now. That's the reason why I'm giving the space for everybody to be able to do it. So if I'm moving fast, please let me know. This is part of the hands-on. Okay, so let me give everybody time. If you know you have, let's go back to this. So now we are going to sign in. So with our credentials, the first time that you are going to sign in, it's going to ask you to change your password. It's going to ask you. The first time that you're going to sign in, it's going to ask you to change your password. So I'm going to come now. So I don't want to use someone else's credentials. So everybody, please have their own individual credentials. So you should get your own individual credentials. So take your username. Who's that? There's a feed can only log in. Once you log in the first time, it's going to ask you to change your username and password. So I'm going to come here. So please take your username. Okay. So please take your username. Whoever, I'm not using this, I'm just using it as an example. Whoever has this username, take that username and put it on the username. Then once you put it on the username, now I've changed it to mine. So I'm just trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. So put your username, then go back and copy your password. So this password in the real world will be provided to you by the IT department. Your username and your password will be provided to you by the IT department. Most of the time, this is created by the SAP security guys, the guys that are SAP security or SAP basis. The basis guys or the security guys are the one that create this user ID and they will give it to you. Now, once you put in your password, then you click confirm. So when I say you click confirm, you can click enter on your keyboard or you can click this green button right here. So this green button is either confirm or enter or go, where either way you want to use the terminology. So now we will confirm. So once you confirm, you're going to get this pop-up. So this pop-up is telling you that you have to change your password. Now, a word of caution. Once you change your password, I do not have it. Once you change your password, I don't have your password. That's number one. Number two, if you forget your password, if you try to log into this SAP system 3 times and you have 3 failure, it's going to lock you out automatically. That means you can log in again. And this is applicable even in the real world. In the real world, you only have 3 attempts to log in. If those 3 attempts failed, SAP will log you out. It will log out that username. Now, in the real world, when I say real world, when you start working for a company, you can easily email the IT guys or go back to the IT guys to provide you or to reset your password. But for this training purpose, if the system locks you out, I will have to, you will have to inform me. I will have to send your username to the vendor that we bought these assets from. Now, before they will reset and send it back to me, it can take 2 or 3 days. That is the reason why I say caution. Whatever password you use now, please save it somewhere or type it somewhere. Because if you forget it and you have 3 attempts, yes, they can reset it, but it's going to take 2 or 3 days before we will receive that asset. Okay? So go ahead and change your password to what you will remember. All right. So once you change your password to what you can remember, you're going to get this pop-up and you click confirm, and that is it. And it's going to take you into the SAP. So coming back, So your username and password. And I believe there's nobody that has EHPMQ16 because that 16 is mine, but I believe there's nobody that has that so that I don't change password and you're trying to log in. So is that understandable? Does anyone have any issues? So now it's time to ask questions. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in the order to catch circle, we have 5 steps that makes up the order to catch circle. And those 5 steps is the first one start with the pre-sales activities. The second is the sales order process activities. The third step is the what? The delivery and shipping activities. The fourth step is the billing activities. And the final step is the what? The account receivable activities. The account receivable activities. So this is the O2C process. And we also call it the order to cash cycle. The order to cash cycle. When a customer is buying from a company, in this instance of the example that we've been using, when Walmart is buying from HP, from the time they make that purchase, from the time they invoice, this cycle has to be what? Fulfilled. The bottom one is what we call the procure to pay cycle. Another word we call it the P to P. The bottom one is the procure to pay cycle. And this middle, guys, is the integration point of these two cycles, OTC and P2P. This guy is the integration between these two cycles. So the first point of reference we need to understand from this diagram is the order to cash cycle. So if I come back, or if someone wakes you up and says, can you tell me the order to cash cycle in SAP? You should be able to tell the person the order to cash cycle involves 5 different steps, which is the pre-sales activities, the sales activities, the delivery and the shipping activities, the billing activities, and the what? Account receivable. If someone comes and meets you and say, do you have experience on the procure to pay cycle? Or can you tell me the activities involved in the procure to pay cycle? You should be able to tell that person the purchase execution, purchase order activities, goods receipt, invoice receipt, and account payable. Some of you that have an accounting background here, you might begin to understand from the accounting side, account receivable, account payable. But you might understand how this transaction flows from the sales and distributions, from the material management, before you start doing the books in either account receivable or account payable. In this cycle, order to cash, we are dealing with customers. In this cycle, we are dealing with what? Vendors, or what we call suppliers. Now, let's break these down further. In the order to cash cycle, Under the precise activities, you have inquiry, quotation, contract, and scheduling. These two go in hand. These two goes in hand, which we are going to be discussing in the later part of the class. Now, we can see this arrow telling us that a precise activities can happen or has to happen before a sales is done. A precise activities has to happen before a sales is done. Let's understand that with these that we are learning right now is we are learning the theory part of the business. We are also going to go into the SAP system and practicalize it. In the precise activities, this is where you begin to see involvement of sales representative. Every company has a sales representative that goes out there to sell products to customers. They try to tell customer about their product. So two things happens. If it is a company that sells goods, product, what will happen? Of course, the customer will first of all inquire about the product. Hey, if you take, for example, let's take Amazon as an example, because I'm just going to be explaining this before we go to the class so that we can have a broad understanding. You walk into Walmart. Now, as a regular consumer, let's take it from the regular consumer. You walk into Walmart. You already have what you want to buy in mind. But when you go there, you are trying to check those products out and to see how much they cost. Automatically, what you're doing there is you are shopping. That's what we call it. You're shopping around. But in the real sense, you are inquiring about the product, which means you are checking out the product and the cost. By the time you approach a customer, a clerk at the counter, you take the product or whatever you want to buy, you approach the customer at the counter. In a situation where you've agreed that you are buying this product based on the cost, that means you've already agreed to the quotation in just a consumer. You've already agreed to that price. That is quotation entirely because two things was involved there. You were inquiring about the product. The cost was already there for the product, which means the business have already given you the quotation already. So you take the product, you take it to the counter. The process whereby you take it to the counter and the clerk takes that product from you and try to ring it up is the sales process. Now he's selling the product to you. The time where he sells the product to you and you pick the product up and you say, okay, thank you, and you pick up your basket or your bag. What you've just done there is you've just done the delivery there, and the shipping, you just pick up your product. Of course, if we understand the B2C word, payment come before delivery, which means in this instant, the billing will be issued to you. By the time the billing is issued to you, which is your receipt, you pay for it, then you take your product, then you leave. And what happens? Account receivable, which is the last step, kicks in there, which means they've received the funds, then the funds, that transaction is already passed to the what? To the accounting department. That's on the consumer level. Now let's bring it to our main focus, the B2B level. The B2B level in the essence of Walmart and HP. So what happens here is this. In the inquiry stage, Walmart is right here and HP is right here. Walmart will send HP what we call request for inquiry, RFI, or this, it might be on a document, it might be a sales speech, it might be on the phone, whatever. So let's say Walmart is making an inquiry about 1,000 laptops. 1,000 laptops of HP product. What will happen is Walmart could see this product on HP website. A piece of that laptop, one piece might be, let's say, $150. A piece of that laptop might be $150. Then Walmart sends an RFI, whatever the way it is, either documentation, conversation, phone, or whatever, which at the end of the day, it's the inquiry. Send it to HP. HP for 1,000 of this laptop, it might be HP iCof 7, whatever, 1,000. Then HP will in turn come here and send Walmart a quotation, which we call an RFQ, request for quotation. So now, once they've inquired and all of that, or it might be an RFQ being sent by Walmart, you've given HP has given Walmart, let's say $150 per piece, or they've seen it as $1 per piece on their website. And then if they see it on the HP website, it might be that it is Walmart that is sending HP an RFQ, request for quotation, on the same product. HP can now respond back to Walmart providing quotation. The quotation might be for 150, but it might say, okay, since you are buying a 1,000 quantity, for 1,000 of this laptop, because you are buying 1,000 pieces, I can reduce and I can sell you one piece for maybe $130. However, if I'm selling this piece for you $130, a quotation always has what we call a validity date. That is one of the key points of quotation. It will say, okay, but this quotation is valid for just 2 weeks. That means in 2 weeks, you have to buy this product. So what happens there is once Walmart receives the quotation, then they will have to decide on how to proceed. So that activities that happens between Walmart and HP is this. Is what we call the pre-sales activities. During the process where they inquire, get the quotation, is the what? The pre-sales activities. The contract and schedulement there is also applicable to a certain type of business. In this instance, the business might not be a Walmart. It might be a contract. It might be an utility service. Take for example, let's use a typical example. We all have electricity and utility at home, right? So because we have utility and electricity at home, we are all in contract with the electrical companies, and we pay for what we use at the end of the month. But by the time we are signing that contract, what we are also doing is we are scheduling an agreement. Your contract, they will tell you you have to be with us for the next 1 year, or a leasing company. They say you have to lease for 1 year. What we are actually doing is we are entering into a contract, and that contract, immediately we agree to that contract, the agreement is scheduled between us and the company. It's the same thing with a regular business. If a business to they do go into contract, if there is a business that is offering a contract service, this is the same thing that is applicable. So inquiry and quotation go hand in hand under the pre-sales activities, and contract and schedulement of agreement go hand in hand under the pre-sales activities. Once the pre-sales activities is done, an example, Walmart agrees to buy the 10,000 laptop for $150. What happens? Walmart will then send what we call a sales order. Once it sends the sales order, under the sales activities, these are the things that could happen under the sales activities. When the sales activities is done, then we go toward the delivery and shipping activities. And this is where the logistics happens. This is where the logistics happens. And once the product is shipped and delivered to Walmart, what happens? HP will send an invoice or they will bill Walmart. And under the billing activities, these are things that could happen or could take place under the six activities. And once the billing is done, it is now the job of the account receivable to receive the payment from Walmart. So this is a typical straightforward of the order to cash process. So the key thing to take out of here first is the order to cash cycle. Having the understanding of the 5 different steps in the order to cash cycle. Now, let's come back to this middle point. Now that we've established some things, now let's come to this middle point. Availability check is what we call the ATP process. When the sales activity is about to be carried out, an availability check is done. What is availability check? An availability check is just to check if that product is available in the warehouse. Once the product is available in the warehouse, then that is the reason why you see the question yes or no. So the availability check is carried out on the inventory to see if that product is available or not. If that product is available, it becomes what? Yes. It becomes yes, which means the logistics execution can then happen in the plant or in the warehouse because the product is available. But if the product is not available, then it goes to the what? The procure to pay cycle. Now, the procure to pay cycle is buying that product from the vendor into the warehouse. And the procure to pay cycle will start with a purchase requisition, which means that also the company, which is, take for example here, let's break this down in a little example for us to understand. Walmart is trying to buy 10,000 laptops from HP. So they are trying to buy, let's say, HP Icon 7 something. Now, when HP is creating the sales order in the system, they found out that they don't have the 1,000 in stock. They only have what? 700 in stock. What will happen is they can either do what we call a partial delivery, and that is the reason why you see that we have what? Types of delivery here. If they do a partial delivery, it means that they will ship 700 to Walmart and they will ship the remainder of the 300. So let's put it in this concept of yes. If they have the 1,000, they will ship everything and it becomes a what? A complete delivery. So that's, you can see the types of delivery there, complete and partial. So if they have the full 1,000 product, yes, they will ship it. It becomes a what? A complete delivery. But if they don't have these 1,000, they will ship only what? 700. It becomes a partial delivery. Now, the 300 that they don't have in stock, if they are buying that product from their vendor, that means HP will in turn that 300 and turn into purchase requisition. They will send that purchase requisition to their vendor, asking their vendor, do you have 300 available? Sometimes it might not even be the vendor. This purchase requisition can be sent to what? Their manufacturing, their manufacturing plant. Their manufacturing plant can be their vendor to check if they have that 300 in stock. So what will happen if they have the 300? The purchase requisition is received by the vendor. The vendor confirms and says, yes, we have the product. Then they will send a purchase order to the vendor, says that they want to buy this product. Once they buy this product, the vendor will ship the product to HP. So what HP will do is HP will receive the product, do a quality assurance to make sure the laptops are good. So once the laptops are good, they will move it to their what? Warehouse. Then the balance 300 product can then be shipped to what? Walmart. Then what happens? The invoice receipt. So they will receive the invoice from the vendor for that 300 product, and HP will pay the vendor. So in a nutshell, this order to cash is for the what? The customer, which is Walmart. And you can say this process is for what? HP if they don't have a product. Or it can be an internal order. But either way, this is the cycle that we need to understand the way it works. So the OTC cycle is pre-sales activities, sales activities, delivery and shipping activities, billing activities, and account receivable. The procure to pay cycle is purchase execution, purchase order activities, goods received activities, invoice received activities, and what? Account payable. So that is one thing that we need to understand from this. So this entire diagram is what we are going to base our class on. This area, coming back to this area to kind of like show you guys, this area of OTC, the OTC circle is the SD, sales and distribution module. The procure to pay circle is the what? MM module. And this area here is the what? The FI module. So you can see the integration between these modules, SD, MM, FI. So the two of them goes hand in hand. During the course of this training, we are not going to be able to cover everything because these are modules that are monsters on their own. Like I said, we are going to focus on SD, but we are going to go into this integration of MM and FI just for us to have a good background as a business analyst in this environment. So I'm going to stop here for now. So, and in the course of this training, we are going to be breaking down all of these activities in the next 5 weeks. We're going to be breaking down some components. We are going to be breaking down, please, you can mute yourself. we are going to be
I
breaking.
had a question to ask you.
Okay, so what's the question?
Okay, so you know where you have the purchase requisition. I know that you said you have to check with the to check if they have inventory, if they have enough products with the in inventory, right? Where they
Mhm.
have the integration.
I can't hear. Sorry, you cut off. Oh, I don't know who is asking that question. I can't hear you. Hello. We're going to look at how they are created in the system practically, and we're going to see the different functionalities, different components that are needed for all of these things to be able to function properly. Then once we are done in the next 5 weeks, then we'll be able to consider ourselves as at least knowledgeable as a business SAP analyst with Anson and Cherry. Then we will look into further things like project. Okay. So this is where
Yeah, I said, you know, you have to go to you have to, you know, check with the inventory team if they have the product, right? So
no,
after that,
you don't check with the inventory team, but go ahead. I will explain that. Go ahead.
okay, so you check for inventory if you have enough product, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and after that, and I see, and if they say yes, then you ship to the plants. So I'm sorry, can you just can you just throw more light on that, especially the inventory postings?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to explain on that. Okay. So you can mute yourself. So let's take this context. So I'm going to do something here. Please mute yourself. Okay. So let me explain something here so that we can understand. Availability check when we are configuring the system. Now, all of this we are just talking about it from the higher level. We are just discussing it from the higher level. That is the reason why they call SAP an ERP system, because all of this will be configured by people like us who are the consultants. So this event happens automatically in the system. It is not that you are calling any department. You are not calling any department to check the inventory. Everybody does their own thing independently in their department, and everything is well integrated. So for every item that is being sold, there's an inventory count that will be put in the warehouse by the material management, the warehouse department. So for every inventory they receive, they have the count they put it. Automatically, when a sales order is being generated in the SAP system, the availability check is triggered automatically. The SAP, the sales screen, when we get there, I will also show us, will trigger the availability check automatically. The availability check will trigger the warehouse to see if there is a product on the floor in the warehouse for that order. So if there is a product, that is the reason why you see what we call the ATP here that says goods. It says goods in the warehouse plus planned goods received and planned goods sent out. So what it does here is this. So let's take an example here. So if originally we say we have 100 product, in the availability check, you say there's an 100 product. The goods in the warehouse will say 100. Now, the total goods that is received, this will be what we call restricted stock. This might be 100, which is what is in the warehouse, plus sent goods. So let's put this. Let's say there is another goods receipt that is coming from this product, and the goods receipt is what? 50. The total goods that is sent out, planned goods sent, maybe it's another 50. So what this system does here on the availability check is that it looks at what is on the order. So if you have, let's say you have 500 on this sales order, automatically you don't have that product in stock. But if you say you have, let's say you place an order of, let's say 120, if you place an order for 120 on this sales order, automatically the system will say two things will happen here. The system will say, look, you have 100 in stock. It will propose a date for delivery for this 100, and it will tell you the remaining 20 can be delivered so date, because it's looking at the goods received that is coming in, that is a 50 coming in, and this 50 is not tied to any sales order yet. So it will tell you that if this 50 comes in, then that means I can ship this balance 20, but it's going to tell you the date, and the date is calculated based on the date that this product is coming in, plus you will calculate the date based on the delivery date, inspection date in the QA, and the time. All of these things is already pre-configured in the SAP system by individual consultant that is responsible for different things and these departments. So that is why it's an integrated system. Now, this is showing here, this ATP is connected to the inventory. So this 100 is in the inventory. So what this arrow is showing here is that when a sales order is created, it checks the inventory. If the product is available, automatically it becomes yes, which means that this product is available. Then the ATP will the ATP will be carried out in the background. You might not even see the screen. It will just tell you this product is available. That means you can ship this product out of the warehouse. So it will just give you the right date where you can ship it. But what we are saying here is that once you check inventory and it sees that there is no stock, it becomes a no. So all of these things, it is not someone telling you. This is being done automatically in the back end by the system. When we are implementing the SAP system, all of these things have already been pre-configured by individual consultant. Most of the ATP check is done, the configuration is done by SCP and SD consultant and MM consultant and WM consultant. So everybody has their own piece that they will put together, that the system would then marry everything together to perform this availability checks. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, now it answers the first
The
question.
first one, yeah.
Yeah, now let me go to the second question. The second question, when you talk about the inventory posting, another thing we need to understand is this, which this will make it more bigger so that you guys will understand. Now, account receivable is the customer paying for, let's say the customer is paying for, let's say this product, let's say this product is 5 pieces of laptop. Let's just put it that way. 5 pieces of laptop. Each piece, one piece is sold to this customer for what? Let's say 150. Now, when we talk about inventory posting, during the calculation, remember when we are buying this product, when the company is buying this product, is purchasing this product from the vendor, there is also a purchasing cost. So the purchasing cost, let's say they bought this same laptop from the vendor, they might buy it from the vendor from $80 per piece. So if $80 is the product that is being bought for this laptop per piece, what happens here is on the inventory posting, what happens here is the five piece for this laptop is going to be 150 times 5. And 150 times 5, that will give us approximately I think that's 750. So that equals 750. So this 750 is what the customer is billed. And this, what we get into this account receivable is this. Now, account receivable will involve the 750. Then we might have tax. So let's say the tax is 10%. So it's going to be $75 tax. And let's say we have freight. They're using shipping the product, which is freight. The freight might be, let's say, another $50. Or let's just put it $100 to ship that product. So the total account receivable that we are going to charge to this customer is going to be 850, 9, everything is going to be 925. So you can see the customer is billed a total of 925, and that is what is going to be posted into the account receivable. That is the amount that the account receivable are expecting. However, on the inventory posting, this product is bought 800, so $80. 80 times 5 gives us what? $400. So the warehouse here on the inventory posted means that the posting here is going to be $400 because that is the cost of goods. So that will be the what? The cost of goods that is moving in this transaction for this customer. So that everything is now posted to the general ledger. So what is posted to the general ledger? AR for this transaction becomes 925. Cost of good, which is CGC, cost of goods or cost of goods service sold, is what? 400. If we do the mathematics here, it becomes what? 525. So automatically, this company, HP, has made a profit margin of $525. That is the posting. So when we talk about inventory posting here, we are talking about the cost of goods that is being posted. So all of these transactions, that's why it is called an enterprise solution, because it does these things automatically based on the configurations and the setup that is being done at the back end. Does this answer your second question?
Yes, it does.
All right. So you
Thank
people,
you.
so you people see the reason why you should ask questions because I won't just carry and explain this on a good day if you don't ask questions. So these are things that you will not find anywhere, but based on experience, when you ask this question, I'll be able to break it down more into details. And if I don't know it, I will tell you I don't know it. I will do research on it. All right. So that is it. And hopefully, I believe this answer your question. So I'm going to take one more question before we round up this class. And if there's no question, then we'll round it up. Any other question?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, put me again.
Right.
Yeah, so basically all this whole thing are already configured in the system already, right?
Yes, everybody, individual consultant, they will set it up, everything. That's the reason why this training is for business analysts. That's the reason why I'm trying to break down the business side of it and also the practical side of it. Now, if this training was a consultant training, then we would have learned some of all these things, how to set it up. But you guys, as an SAP business analyst, you are not going to be doing any configurations. So you are not doing any configurations. But you just need to understand these logics and the business.
Okay, okay.
All right. So we'll call it a day for today, and we will start practical, breaking these circles down one after another. So please, everybody, be on your A game when you are coming to the class on Sunday.